What's up, guys? Blake and Garrett here. Going to talk to you a little bit today about what it takes to see real changes. So this summer challenge we're on right now, it's going to give you the opportunity to see some amazing changes that you can achieve in a short amount of time that can help you lead to major changes over longer periods of time. So before we get into the topic of today, which is going to be more nutritional based and hydration based, we just want to talk about from a psychological standpoint, from a behavioral standpoint, what this challenge gives you the opportunity to do. And one thing that Garrett said on Saturday that I absolutely agree with, I've never really thought about it before, was you have to fall in love with the process of changing, right? So we all want to see these big transformations. We all have these goals. I know that I did when I first started in 2010, and what I realize now is, like what Garrett said, is I fell in love with the process of what I went through and learning and seeing what the body is capable of when it comes to putting on muscle, when it comes to leaning out, when it comes to changing your mindset to what you can actually do, right? To proving yourself that wrong when you don't think you could do it in the first place. So it is pretty awesome to see what we can do, and you can do it. So it starts with a behavioral change, don't you agree?
It does. And so when people restructure their attitudes and their actions to become somebody that they want to become. So for you, that might be, hey, I really want to lose 10, 15, 20 pounds. I want to put on this amount of muscle. Well, you have this vision of who you want that person to be. So the actions follow the future you. And I don't want to get too theoretical and too philosophical in that. But in that process, from start to finish, there's going to be little victories, right? So let's say that you do lose 3-4 pounds. Well, celebrate that, because you are one step closer to reaching the end goal, and that should be a highlight. You should be able to gain momentum by achieving these short-term or small victories over the course of the long term. So don't neglect the small behavioral changes that are successes for you guys when you're on this, for lack of a better word, this process of transforming your body and therefore transforming who you are, and celebrate those things, okay? So if you fall in love with who you're becoming, it makes those decisions regarding food and training much easier.
Absolutely. And so, with that being said, guys, we're going to talk to you today a little bit about proper nutritional habits. So along with that, we're going to talk about consistency with your caloric intake, what protein looks like, how to keep your protein high, hydration, alcohol, pre-workout. We'll kind of touch on those during this talk. And then if you have any questions, always feel free to ask Garrett or myself or one of the other trainers here on staff, and we would be glad to help you. But let's first talk with regards to nutrition on consistency. And that's what we have to understand, is that to see these results, you've got to be consistent in the changes that you're making and apply them consistently throughout the rest of the challenge and beyond. So when I talk about consistency, the main things that we want to start with, and it's kind of simple, is just consistency with your caloric intake. Like, use MyFitnessPal, use some kind of calorie tracker, and figure out how many calories are you taking in every day, right? One thing that is not going to help you achieve your results if you're getting this yo-yo effect, high, low, moderate, back to high, back to low, really light, and then crazy high on the weekends, you're never going to see the results you want if we can't first get your daily intake more consistent, okay? The next thing is going to be protein. This is my big topic for today, is keep your protein intake high. And that high intake has to be consistent day to day. We're not talking about Monday through Wednesday. We're talking about Monday through Sunday, and then repeatable week to week. Now, why is protein so important, Garrett?
Well, there's a few reasons why. Number one, people think of protein as just people who want to put on and gain muscle. Well, protein has a lot of different ways that it helps serve the body. Number one, helps with your bones, right? Helps with ligaments, tendons. Keeping you young and youthful is very important when you have the proper amount of protein. So don't just think about it from a muscular development standpoint. Yes, it's very important, and it is the building blocks of protein, but it also helps with every single other system in your body so that you can keep your performance high. Performance in the gym, in your relationships, in your job, all of the things that you do on a 24-hour basis, including your sleep, protein is going to help facilitate, because of the hormone demand that your body is in when you're in an active environment. It's going to help regulate your hormones. That's the first thing. The second thing is that protein in general, when you ingest protein, it's very difficult for your body to store that as fat. For most people, it's almost impossible. I can't say it's impossible, but it's very difficult. It's not advantageous for your body to do that. So when you increase your protein content from what you're at right now, you're going to put on muscle and lose fat just by doing that alone, okay? especially if your calories are equated for. So if you continue to increase your protein content, like Blake is saying, over a long period of time, you are therefore allowing your body's system to be in an environment to put on lean mass, which is what we all want. We want to put on more muscle and lose fat. Well, you're creating the environment by increasing your protein content for your body to be able to do that wisely.
Absolutely. And so we talk about increasing your protein. Where do we start? A great way to start is look at the scale. Let's see how much you weigh, and then try to take in 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Excellent place to start. If you can start hitting that, I guarantee that most of you will look at the MyFitnessPal or whatever calorie tracker you're using and realize that you are far short of your body weight in protein. Now, what kind of proteins do we need to be eating? So we're talking about there's a lot of options here, and find one that suits your taste buds, right? We don't have to be bland chicken all the time. Chicken, steak, fish, eggs. You can get protein from dairy sources. What are some other ones, Garrett? Beef, lots of beef, ground beef, ground turkey. The leaner cuts obviously a little better there, but there are a lot of choices out there that work really well for people. Protein powders. So we're asking you to get this much protein in, cooking it, eating it, chewing it, digesting it. It can be tough. So a great way to supplement that is finding a really good whey protein powder. There are tons of options that we'd be happy to help you with when you find one. But hey, when you do that, you can make a protein shake that'll give you anywhere from 20 to 30, depending on how many scoops. You could be 60 up to 100 grams of protein per shake. So when people tell us that it's hard for them to get their protein in and they like taking protein shakes, well then there's really no excuse, because you can do it. If you make a shake that has 30 to 50 grams of protein in there, you are setting yourself up for success to be able to hit your protein goals daily, without a doubt. It can easily be done. You can make it taste great. And guys, I promise you, that one change. I had an individual come in today that the only thing they've changed in 1 month is eating their body weight in protein. 8 pounds down, 2% body fat lost, 1.5 pounds of muscle mass gain. Only change they made was protein intake. Everything else stayed exactly the same. Now we're going to start working on the other things and really take those results up. So protein, protein, protein. You know things you want to talk about in protein, Garrett?
Some people have a hard time with their body digesting the protein, so my advice to you is we experiment with the type of foods, whether it be chicken, ground beef, or the different whey protein sources. Experiment a little bit and then understand how that's digesting in you and your own body's chemistry, so that you can continue making those choices that are going to help you perform the best, right? Blake may do really well on chicken, I do really well on red meat, and it might just be, hey, this is just how our system is set up. So don't force yourself down the wrong path when it comes to the protein source. Speak your body's language, in a sense, is what I would say regarding the protein, whether it be powdered or otherwise.
And that's a great point. That's something that I've kind of a philosophy I've adopted more as of late. In the past, I felt right along in that boat of just eating to eat because I knew it was protein, I needed it. Well, then I took a step back and started listening to how my body was responding. Was I sleeping well? Was I feeling bloated? Was I gassy? What was it, right? Was I irritable? What was my mood affected? There's a lot of different things that, your body will let you know when something that you're taking in, it's not responding to well, right? And so truly listen to, pay attention to how your gut feels post meals, post shakes, things like that. And if there is something that is causing to be off in any way, well, make a note of it, remove it, test again, and then see if you start feeling better when you have substitutes, okay? I promise you. The whole goal is to look good, feel good, and move well, so we don't need you miserable while you're trying to make these great changes. We need you having fun. We need you to enjoy the process like we talked about in the first place. So, get the calories in. Okay, let's make it consistent. We'd be more than happy to help you figure out how many calories are good for you, but let's just make your calorie intake consistent at first. Focus on increasing the protein. 1 pound or 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight is an awesome place to start. And I promise you, make those changes over the course of this summer challenge, you will definitely see results by the time you're done. Now, with regards to other things other than protein, right? We talk about hydration. Guys, it is, in case you haven't noticed, it is hot outside, right? So we need to make sure that you are hydrating well. And actually staying hydrated is going to help you see some really good results. So with regards to hydration, Garrett, what is a good goal for people when you talk about water intake, electrolyte intake, for people to hit on a given day, especially during hot summer months like this?
It's so independent, right? I am an aqueduct, so anybody who's worked out with me over there, it's kind of gross. Like, I sweat a ton, it's really absurd. So I might need a little bit more, but a good rule of thumb, I don't like to use urine as an example because it isn't the best, but as far as application goes, it's not a bad marker. Not having dark urine over the course of the day should be a goal, maybe other than your morning when you wake up in the morning. So if your pee is dark often, that can be a sign. Also, if you've lost a lot of weight, so a lot of you guys on the challenge, you might be weighing yourself often. Well, if you have a 2 to 3 or 4 pound drop of weight, that probably is water weight. So you might be really, really dehydrated. Another goal would be, for the majority of people, a 1.5 gallons of water as a strict baseline blanket statement is a good thing to aim for. Now you might be thinking, wow, it's a lot of water, I'm gonna be peeing constantly. Well, the answer is yeah, and here's the reason why. Most people think that they only need a lot of water when they sweat. Well, you have to remember that your body is composed of like 60% of water. I don't know what the actual number is. It's a lot of water, and you're constantly losing it throughout the course of the day. So you need to replenish what your body's already utilizing as far as energy production and body systems. And then if you're sweating on a day like today where it's 95 degrees, you're gonna have to double that, basically. So a good thing to aim for is if you're an average, let's just say 150 pound female, it's probably at 1.5 gallons. If you're a 200 pound male, closer to 2 gallons. And ice water feels good.
I love that, because one mistake that I see in the gym almost every single day when I ask people, hey, are you hydrating? Yep, I had my 20-ounce Dasani on the way over here today. If you are waiting until you arrive to the gym to hydrate yourself properly, you have missed the mark, okay? You're gonna be far underhydrated, and you will feel it immediately when we start working out. So, do the little things. Drink all day, have some water, make sure it's consistent. If you have to set reminders in your phone, that's worked well for people. But just make sure that you're staying hydrated, okay? Another topic we want to talk about that we had a question that was asked to us was pre-workout. Now, both regards to pre-workout supplements, or when do I eat, or should I eat, or is it beneficial to fast when I come into training? And really the answer with regards to the food side is it's kind of individual, right? I'm someone that could never get up and probably work out well fasted. Lots of people can come work out very well fasted. But if you're someone that's kind of experimenting, maybe you find yourself kind of fading as the workout goes because you are hungry, a great rule of thumb is to give yourself just a little bit more on the carbohydrate side, maybe right before you come to train, maybe 20 to 40 minutes before you actually work out. And one of our favorite things to do is just plain rice cakes. They make them in just salted, they make them in chocolate, apple cinnamon. They make some really good flavors. 1 to 2 of those right before you train can be a really good option. What do you think, Garrett?
Yeah, I do. And on that point, if you have a carbohydrate source, starchy carb, understand how that makes you feel. So if you have a whole bunch of fibrous carbohydrate right before you work out, your gut probably isn't going to be feeling super good. It's called GI distress. So the simple starchy carbs like the rice cake seems to do really well for that reason. And then also having a little bit of water to help you with that system is really good for pre-workout, right? Another thing on water before I touch on the carbohydrate one more time is, if you are chronically dehydrated, your body is going to bloat up because it's lacking water. So for all of you out there who really want to see the results that you're looking for and to feel really good, is to consume the amount of water that your body needs so that you do not get bloated. Water helps you to not get bloated. I'm gonna be very clear on that. So if you do feel bloated, it might be because you're dehydrated. On the pre-workout front, yes, starchy carbs like rice cakes. Some people do like to have an apple. I know that you like to have an apple before you work out. It really is dependent, but they're all fructose or carbohydrate sources that help you fuel that energy so you don't get burned out during the workout.
Yeah, what are your thoughts, Garrett, on maybe pre-workouts with regards to like an actual supplement they can take to give them a little boost during the workouts?
Yeah. People can go really wrong because they say caffeine and then they go chug a Monster and then they're puking in the back. My recommendation would be to experiment. Most pre-workouts work because of the caffeine. Okay, so if there's a whole bunch of ingredients in the pre-workout, I think you're playing with fire a little bit because you don't know how you're going to respond to that, right? You might respond to 400 grams of caffeine like I respond to 200 grams of caffeine or milligrams of caffeine. So you have to play around with the dosages of pre-workout. If you're an early morning person and you don't want to have coffee because coffee can make you do things, right? It can make you use the bathroom. You don't have coffee before you work out. Pre-workout is a good supplement for that. However, if you are at the 4:15 or 5:30 class and you're downing a bucket of pre-workout, you're like, hey, I'm gonna be back bed by 9:30. Probably not, because you just had that pre-workout and the caffeine's half-life is gonna be 6 hours, which means it's gonna be in your system for a while. There's nothing you can do about it. If you find a pre-workout, and Blake and I can help you with that, a supplement to help you with your energy because you're coming after work and you're really lethargic, come talk to us about individual pre-workout. But what I will say is they work because of the caffeine dose. But if you eat strategically and if you hydrate well, the amount of pre-workout might be more placebo than it actually is what's actually in the supplement.
Absolutely. So there's a lot of ones out there, guys, and again, we'd be glad to help you find one that works well for you. But my recommendation, start small with the dosage, work your way up, find something that you can tolerate and tolerate well. And something that helps, with your workout, your performance during that workout. So one final thing we want to address, and then guys, trust me, we're going to do more of these videos where we address more specific principles. Could be calories, could be a topic just on protein, and we can dive into more topics on a deeper level. We will do videos like that, but just to close this one question we had was probably the number one question that everybody had, but that was afraid to ask, and that was with regards to alcohol. How does alcohol play into your summer challenge and your results overall, even off the challenge? One good thing is that, alcohol doesn't have any calories, right, Garrett?
Of course not. Yeah,
Right.
alcohol has
So
0
that makes sense,
calories,
right?
and you can get away
White
with
Claws
drinking
have 0 calories.
0 calories. Yeah.
Wrong. So,
Yeah.
so let's speak a little bit about alcohol. Anything, before we get into like the finer points of it, remember moderation is going to be key to most everything, right? We are taking take your protein way up, but with most things, moderation is going to be key, right? We're not telling you to live this miserable life where you void yourself of anything, the thing that you really, really enjoy, right? Moderation, right? Learn moderation. As Americans, as humans, we overdo everything, right? Everything to excess, right? So we need to dial it back a little bit in certain areas, and push in some others. But for the most thing, you make major changes with your protein intake, take that up a little bit, take everything else down a little bit, and you're going to see great change. In regards to alcohol, moderation is still going to be key here.
Yes, I don't want anybody to get the notion that we're saying alcohol is inherently a bad thing, but it is a poison. So if you think poison is good, then we can have that discussion about the philosophy behind what that is. Alcohol is not good for you. We know that. It's like the cigarettes. This is back in the 60s, right? Everyone had cigarettes because they didn't think it was bad for you. Alcohol is very similar to that in terms of what it does to the body. Okay, the liver processes it differently than every other substance. If you want to enjoy alcohol socially because it's an event and you want to participate, there's nothing wrong with that. But understand the reason why you are having the alcohol in the first place, and that'll help delineate the relationship that you have with the substance, right? You shouldn't have to have alcohol every single night to have fun. That's called being an alcoholic, right? And we're not supporting that. I know as far as Godspeed, I don't support people who need alcohol to have fun because there are other ways around it. In terms of what it does to the body, well, I already said it's poison. Number one, it gets processed differently. It's very close to fat calories. It's 7.2 calories per gram. So on the White Claw labels, on the alcohol labels, yes, it's a lot of calories. And your body doesn't utilize it very well, so it's very readily stored as fat. But I want you to think about a couple things in terms of alcohol content. How do you feel when you're on it? Well, I feel great, Garrett. A lot of fun to be around. Cool. How do you feel the next day? Does your performance suffer? Does your appetite get dysregulated? Are you your best self the days following alcohol consumption? Or do you make poor choices? Are you not becoming the person that we discussed in the beginning of this, who you're going to be proud of in the future because you did lose the weight, you do feel the best, you stay hydrated, you put on weight in the gym because Blake's pushing you to add weight to the bar, you know that you can, so you're gaining the muscle that you can because you made the wise choice. If alcohol fits into that category, great. Make it a small dose. Don't go overboard with it. What would the person who signed up for this challenge do to get the end result? Would they drink alcohol? Or would they say, you know what, I can have a Diet Coke tonight and still go out and have a great time at the social event because I'm taking care of what I need to take care of, and therefore, I'm giving other people permission to make the better choices for themselves, right? Not falling into peer pressure. Why don't you go to the other end of the spectrum? Allow other people to follow your lead by making the wisest choices that we all know that we can do in terms of habit formation and then the actions that are taken so that you can become the person that you're proud of.
Amen. I mean, I can't think of a better way to end it than that, than just, be proud of the fact that, one, you signed up for this challenge. Be proud of the fact that you're taking the initiative to even be at Godspeed to truly make a change. Now, we're not in this to take your money and just have you be a part of something where you just come in and kind of get lost in the crowd. We want you to come in and see great changes. We want the transformations. We want you to represent us well, and we dang sure want to represent you guys well. We want you to be proud of that lion shield that's on your chest, and we want you to see amazing results and to be proud of yourself because you can do it. We believe in you. You got to believe in yourself, and once you do and you trust the process, you fall in love with the process, I promise you, you'll blink, you'll snap your finger, it'll be 3 years from now, and you will be amazed at the accomplishments that you've made. So, until we do another video like this, it's Blake and Garrett, we're signing out. Guys, make the changes. If you have questions, ask us, and we look forward to helping you.